Class 10, subject History Civics, the First War of Independence. We are continuing with this chapter of history, and as you know, we are revising this chapter, and we had discussed some of the important points in the previous lecture, that the First War of Independence was being called as a spy mutiny by the British East India Company. But the Indian leaders described it as a first war of independence. We discussed some of the political causes, like annexation of Awadh, how Awadh was taken over by giving an excuse of mismanagement or misgovernance of the Nawab. The Nawab was deposed from his office, given some pension, and Awadh was overtaken by the East India Company. Lord Dalhousie made Doctor of Lapse. Under this Doctor of Lapse, no Indian state ruler, Raja, Maharaja, Nawab, Nizam, could adopt a child, and after his death, his kingdom would be overtaken by the East India Company. Similarly, the disrespect shown to Bahadur Shah Zafar. The British East India Company announced that after his death, his successors would not be allowed to reside in Red Fort. They would not be entitled to have that his successors will not be allowed to hold any title of a king. All these things deeply hurt the people of India. It hurt the Muslims, the way they treated Bahadur Shah Zafar. Now, coming to the social and religious causes which we had discussed, like they imposed taxes on the property attached with the temples and mosques, but no tax was imposed on the property attached with the church. Any Indian who used to get converted into Christian was told by his family that you will have now no relations with us. You get out from here, you get lost from here, and you will have no share in the property. The British made an act by which any Indian who gets converted into Christian will have his share in the property of his forefathers. So in this way, the people felt that the intention of the British is to convert the Indians into Christians and to destroy their religion. Now we are going to today to discuss about the economic causes. The British ruined Indian industry and Indian handicrafts. The British were alarmed when they came to know that the Indian cotton and silk has become very popular in Britain. the policymakers of Britain immediately made an act in 1720 that prohibited the British to purchase the Indian cotton or silk. Heavy duty was imposed on the Indian cotton and silk. So it became so costly that no one could afford it. As a result of it, it crippled the Indian handicrafts, Indian arts and handicrafts. The towns which manufactured cotton textile like Dhaka, Murshidabad and Surat became helpless. And finally, these towns got totally destroyed. Next, loss of the jobs. Many Indians who were engaged in handicrafts lost their livelihood, and they had no alternative choice or source of livelihood. Similarly, they introduced the Western education in India, and as a result of it, the Pandits and the Maulavis, who used to give education, Oriental education to the people, they also lost their source of living. The territories which they annexed, they demobilized the army of that territory, that king. The army was thrown out of the job. No alternative source of living was left to them. So all of them became bitter enemies of the East India Company. Now we are coming to the military causes. The Indian army was paid a low salary compared to the British soldier. The British soldier used to get 8 times more salary than what an Indian soldier used to get. Though the work they used to do was the same. The Indian soldier could not get promoted beyond the rank of a Sobedar, while as a British soldier had unlimited chances of promotion. This hurt the feelings of the Indian sepoys. The Afghan War, which was fought by the British, the first Afghan War, the British lost it. The first Afghan War was lost by the British, and they were badly defeated in this war. The people in India and the soldiers in India used to feel that the British army is invincible. Nobody could defeat them. But after the defeat in the first Afghan War, the Indian soldiers felt that they could also defeat them. They can also fight against them and defeat them. General Service Enlistment Act. Under this General Service Enlistment Act, they made a law that the Indian soldier will not only serve inside the country, but he will also have to serve outside the country. And the Indian soldiers were not prepared for it. Because according to their traditions, they were supposed not to cross the sea. It was against their religious feelings. So this also became another important factor. So all these factors played very important role in the first war of independence. Now I am giving you the homework. Do next 4 questions given in 10 or F.